And we're live. We're here with the Neurotic Podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas in lovely San Diego. And with me, as always, is Gary Buechler down up in San Francisco. How you doing, Gary?
Or up in San Francisco. It really depends on your orientation of the universe. We
Mm-hmm.
could be down, we could be up, we could be sideways. I don't even know. But you know what? It's kind of like watching Legion. I don't even know what direction. The show this is a great show, dude. Like
Yeah,
this
it
is
is.
worthy. Certain shows for the Nerdrotic podcast we deem special to where they get recaps and we do videos. And this is definitely, kind of late in the game, but we're probably just going to do a video of this one and put it up on the YouTubes, and because we love this freaking show. And this we got some awesome X-Men stuff in this one. And I mean, we don't want to bury the lead. I love the beginning when he's talking to Oliver, who is played by one of the flight of the
Concords.
Flying of the Concords. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name. Freaking love the dude. He was so great. And he just goes, "Oh yeah, it's it's the Shadow King." They just come out and say, what was his name again? It's Farouk. Farouk. I always want to say Fairuza Balk, the actress, but it's Farouk. And they just came out and said it. We're so not used to that, and we can thank like the CW for this. Like, it's okay to call people like there'd be a producer somewhere going, "Oh, the Shadow King is just that's too simplistic of a name. We're gonna name him Jonathan, and we'll just allude to the fact that he's the Shadow King." No, they made him the Shadow King, and they called him, and then they go over the story of the Shadow King, and like X-Men fans must have been just. And I'm not the biggest X-Men fan, but I was like, as a comic book fan, stoked. I cheered, and I can't imagine. I mean, to be an X-Men fan, you must be so happy. Is it hard not to think of our mutual friend Harry Maldonado?
Yeah, I know. I don't know if Harry's even watching this. That's the whole thing.
This show is so tailor-made for her. And I say her because I mean her other persona is Precious Envy. Please check out Precious Envy because she's precious. But I can't help but think of our friend Harry, who's probably not watching this, which is crazy because this is everything he wanted.
Yeah,
it's everything. It delivers this on. It's meta. It's freaking crazy how cool the show is. Like I am like just as excited about the X-Men universe as I am the Marvel Cinematic Universe if they use this as a template.
Yes. I just honestly just love the stylistic stuff. I know we talked about this in the last podcast, but just the way they blend one scene into the other. Also just not being predictable. That's the one nice thing about this show. It's not predictable at all. Even though if you've read Legion or the comic and that much about it, it's still not following any of that at all. It's its own entity, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, it's got its it follow. I mean, in one aspect which we're going to dive into, which was the big Professor X scene, and we're just going to come out and say it, the Professor X scene where they talk about Dad. Because remember when this show started out, they weren't talking. So I was just under the assumption that they were going to like go around the Professor X thing. Like I was just talking about, some producer would go, "Yeah, it's really great to have Professor X, but maybe we should make his father like Mr. Sinister or something." Some stupid Hollywood move.
Yeah.
But I should have known this show was cool from the get-go when they named a character after Syd Barrett of Pink Floyd. I mean, at that point, I should have been all on board. Pink Floyd's my favorite band of all time, ladies and gentlemen. And, even though, and what made us hesitant was Bryan Singer's name is attached to this. Obviously, the man has nothing to do with it. Or I'll give him this. Maybe he's just better with TV because he produced another great show called House. And so
I think it's just because he's just throwing his money into it, and there's other people involved that are actually doing the work on this, to tell you the truth. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I want to Noah Hawley. Okay, is the showrunner, right, for this.
Yeah.
dude is genius. Dude is
Yeah.
flat out genius.
I've heard Fargo is awesome because
he also does Fargo, and this guy is going to be the biggest thing in freaking Hollywood very soon, if not now. I mean, he's I almost, back in the day, it used to be you did TV and then you went on to movies, and I kind of think it's going back to TV now, and I hope he stays in TV because what he's doing with Legion is cinematic.
Oh yeah,
and you can't do in a movie because he did something that only Mr. Robot was able to do it in season 1. Was doing the surreal episodic television, which is incredibly hard. I mean, like just as hard as comedy, probably. I mean, and to make it entertaining and believable, and you can follow it. And this show's not the easiest show to follow.
No. And then you really have to pay attention, otherwise, yeah, you get lost down the rabbit hole fairly quickly.
But and with superheroes, and the freaking X-Men, which are the most difficult because it's not difficult to do the X-Men, but it's easy to get trapped into the soapiness of them. And
you could really do it you could do it badly, like the Singer movies. Or sorry about that, I had a fly.
You know what's funny is your fly flew into my room. I got one flying around in here too. That's crazy, man. Crazy. Legion.
Yeah, so it's that's the whole thing is you could do it badly like Singer did it, or you can actually do it well like Noah's doing it.
Like Noah's doing it, and I really hope they bring in Matthew Vaughn to was he connected to a DC movie, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, they are talking about bringing him in to do Man of Steel 2.
Yeah, that's going to be a great movie. Anything that guy does is great. So they kind of missed the boat on letting him run the show. He's twice offered to do it, and I think Fox just pissed him off. And his ideas were all good, even in the awful X-Men 3. Casting Kelsey Grammer as the Beast was so genius.
Yeah, especially when he has, when he says, "Oh, my stars and garters," which is a ridiculous line that Beast says. But when Kelsey Grammer said it, I don't know about you, but I got goosebumps when I got.
And then Ellen Page as Shadowcat, as Kitty Pryde, was some of the most perfect casting of all time. And you know what? The greatest missed opportunity is Ellen Page acting with Hugh Jackman in a movie. That is one of the greatest superhero missed opportunities of all time. I don't know what other people, what I've found works best for me on the podcast is I stopped watching other podcasts when referring to entertainment, and I stopped reading anything because I'm a human being. It muddles my opinion, which
I skim
probably
myself.
I think that's what led to our positive review of Iron Fist, which has had mixed reviews itself, which I was expecting. That's fine. That's cool. I understand both sides of the argument, but it's what I like. So I don't like stuff getting in. So I don't know what other people think of this show. I know what John thinks of it. I know what my wife thinks of it. My wife doesn't have time for nonsense like this. But this could easily grow. If it continues on this path, it could become my favorite show, period.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it could, second season is going to be huge, I think, for this show.
And you know what, dude, Dennis, what you just said, style counts for something. And I think, you know what, if Marvel movies are so damn good, I think we forget two of their basic flaws. And I think they're trying to correct them this year, by the way. And they're just little flaws. Marvel movies are very gray. They're not very colorful. And until Captain America Winter Soldier, stylistically, they were pretty bland. Still very freaking good. And Joss Whedon did a great job with the Avengers movie. But, and then music is just bleh in Marvel movies. There's nothing memorable about, actually Netflix does a much better job music wise. And that was the redeeming quality of the page. But the music in the show makes it. For one, the guy who does the soundtrack, I'm forgetting his name right now, it is fantastic. And then the songs they pick are just spot on. And it's so important. I know many creators, many filmmakers, many artists, myself included. I get inspired by a song. A song will make me want to put something to paper, and it's good to use that if it works. I mean, people use it for editing beats and stuff, and it just works so well in the show. And then, but we get into the tidbits of the show here. And Aubrey Plaza, although she wasn't in it that much, her disheveled, devilish look, still hot. I'm sorry. She's so hot, dude.
What was it? Hot Dirty? What was it? Dirty Hot? Dirty Hot, yes.
Kind of way I like him. So we start out with David in a box. In a box, the Shadow King has put his consciousness in a box. It is about to take over his body. And we have Carrie, the male version, in the ice cube with Oliver. And just the Oliver scenes I could rewatch.
Yeah,
it's a guy
who's hilarious.
They're so funny and moving the story forward. And I can't even explain how funny they are. It's just like I love how he's like in the middle of explaining the Shadow King. He wants to start a barbershop quartet with Dave. It's just a little side thing. And just the way, I mean, it's the New Zealand accent, and his comedic delivery is just freaking genius.
Well, it's also the flightiness of his mind, which he's getting that really nice kind of. The only thing I can liken it to is the movie Up with the dog Doug.
Yep.
Squirrel. It just kind of he's talking about something. Squirrel. He gets really distracted.
So Carrie has left other Carrie behind, by the way, in the hospital to fend for herself, which is kind of the problem I have, because maybe she freaks out when he's not around, but isn't she the badass?
She's the badass, but the thing is, she's very sheltered. You got to remember, Carrie, the male, has been taking care of everything, all the mundane stuff. She only comes out to, fight pretty much, or and mainly she's protecting him for the most part.
Yep.
But you notice that she's much younger than he is, so she doesn't come out that often.
No, I see a huge setup for one of them to die. I think that's happening, and I don't know what their mutant power is beyond that, but
I think that's the whole thing. Is he's also realizing that he needs to, and he actually alluded to this a couple episodes back. I think it was like episode 4 or 5. He says you have to prepare to be without me at some point, because I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah. Maybe he's got to go hang out inside of her for a little while or something. I don't know if they can do it the other way around. That's interesting thought. I love that play on the mutant power. So we got him running around the hospital, and what does he call his wetsuit again? He calls Jules Verne. He's on meet Jules Verne. And we lead into how we ended last episode, where he went into Dr. Bird's room and kind of got her in. So they're frozen in time inside of David's room, and they're running around the astral plane, and the Shadow King is wreaking havoc on all their minds. David's locked in a box. Oliver can do some stuff, but not much. And Carrie figures out he's got that little tiara he can put on David's head. So David, stops freaking out, and all of a sudden there's another David in there, and he has the accent of the actor, Dan Stevens, which he just sounds better that way. And of course, it's his rational mind. He's all, "You're British?" He's all, like I said, rational mind, which was hilarious. And this juicy scene where they, he's like, "You need to, for one, stop freaking out. This is just an idea. It's just a construct." Oh crap, my phone's ringing. Oh, it's Chris Ortiz. I'm gonna have to turn my phone off. I apologize, everybody. So he projects himself into a classroom with his rational mind, and his rational mind's just like he starts freaking out about being adopted and all this. It's like,
well, I guess finding what do we know? And he goes, I was adopted.
But he was adopted. Then he starts freaking out over it, right? And he's like, why did my mom and dad and like for one, and he's like, listen, shush, we just need to deal with facts here. So they go through the facts. They find out the Shadow King, is they get to the point where he's a mutant. Mm-hmm. And then they start to devise, well, why did my real dad give me up? So like, I don't know how to even imagine my real dad, but maybe he's British, and I'm paraphrasing here. And then they're on a chalkboard, so he's drawing this out, right? And he's all, well, he draws a bald guy with a suit.
Well, it's a stick figure at first. Of course he's bald. Yeah.
But it turns into Professor fucking X, right? And then we got Mom, whoever Mom is, right? And then we have the Shadow King, and it does kind of look like a stick figure version of what the Shadow King looks like in the comics. And first they have him fighting with fists, and then I love when he's all, maybe before all this starts, he's all, well, maybe my dad's a mutant, and all of a sudden it's got like little rings going around his head. He's probably a psychic, and then it looks like Professor X. And then they show that they fight on the astral plane, and they're just shooting like little mind things on him on the chalkboard. And everything. And that was so fucking rad. It was so rad. And it breaks down the whole damn story. And that was from the comics. That was straight up out of the comics. So that was our big Professor X moment. Maybe I oversold it a little bit, but I thought it was fucking cool as hell. And then
I had fun with it. I thought it was fun.
I thought it was a really fun scene. So that helps him get his mojo back, and he's going to start going after him. But Lenny or the Shadow King is catching on that something's going on. And finally, I guess that she was just waiting it out, and
she was looking for something. She was in a room with a whole bunch of globes.
Oh, yeah.
Where did he hide it? Where did he hide it? And she's looking around.
And his sister, David's sister, was trapped in the room. And it's a room with a bunch of globes. And we never found out what she was worried, what he was hiding. About, what he was hiding. That is interesting. I guess we'll find that out next episode. So in searching for whatever the Shadow King was searching for, it kind of took its eye off the ball, and the eye was chasing the other Carrie, wanting to kill her? Rape her?
Well, first he was terrifying her, and I think he was going to kill her, is what it was. He was going to beat her up and kill her. And that's what Lenny had said early, in the previous episode. Well, we're just doing with letting one of the beasts roam wild and doing what it does best.
Yep. Okay.
And that's what he was doing, was he was just hunting her down, wearing her down.
And in the meantime, Oliver talks with Carrie. Carrie gets and talks to Sid, and they devise these mental glasses that they can put on because they're in the astral plane and they're in the hospital. But everything, there's like all the patients in the hospital are like attacking them like zombies. So Carrie gives Sid these glasses after he's going to explain to her what to do, but she had completely figured it out. Mm-hmm. And puts the glasses on, and it helps them move around the hospital a little better. And but the eye catches up with Carrie after she loses her glasses, right? And then she starts fighting all the patients, and the eye's gonna kill her. And Sid can't do much, they're in the astral plane. Yeah. But I guess you can die if you die inside the astral plane. And then Lenny catches on, and she decides she's tired of him, and then we get a pretty gross scene.
Yeah. She just crumples him up into a little ball.
She crumples him up into a little ball like a piece of paper, and it's disgusting on both ends. So it does it mentally, right? And then it does it in real life, and it's way bloodier. And it's freaking disgusting. And kind of sorry to see the eye go. I thought he was a good villain. I don't know where their new villains are going to come from, but I mean, there is the X universe to deal with, so that's cool.
Well, Division 3 is still out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we'll get to that.
Yes. We'll get to that in the end. But I did like David's sister's reaction to, coming back out of everything and seeing the eye crumbled into the ball, into a ball on the floor, and she just loses her shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, like a normal person, everybody else is kind of standing around going, "Oh, that was a mutant adventure," and she's like, "Ah!" There's a crumpled up bloody guy right over there. But it got really close, and David started breaking out of the classroom, but as he was doing that, he kept on going through the same room over and over and over and over and over again, and he finally had to
get through the levels. He had to fight through the levels in order to get, it's all the memories. Remember, the Shadow King always rewrites memories.
Yep.
Is what was going on, and when you get too close, as they were saying, whenever David got a glimpse of the Shadow King would rewrite everything to keep David back in check. So that's what this was David breaking out and having to go through the memories over and over and over again until he broke through one of them. Then you get to the next memory and over and over and over again. And finally he figures it out. He goes, wait a minute. I don't need to keep going through these memories. I can just destroy them.
Yep. And that's what he does. But I mean, as this is going on, it turns into a silent film. Just randomly turns into a silent film. It goes black and white and people start talking and it's got the cards up, which is great. Yeah. Like, I'm going to kill you now. It's time to die. And she's all,
yes.
And it fit so perfectly. And it just this thing gets cooler as it goes on. And that's what this is. It's good storytelling. It's the X-Men and it's fucking cool. So,
and it's a comic book too. It honestly, feels like a live action comic book, which I know there's a lot of people have tried doing it. I'm going to mention Ang Lee from the first. He really did try doing a comic book version movie. Didn't work. But this to me actually felt exactly like a comic.
It did. And again, hats off to Noah Hawley or Noah Hawley. That's probably how you say his name. I'll figure it out next episode. Dude's awesome. Dude's freaking great. So we get the tiara on David's head, and the Shadow King is put out of commission for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually make it out of that house somewhat alive. I don't know who the name of this this mutant is, but the guy who can flip shit around and open doors and stuff.
They know they said his name once, like way back in the first or second episode, and I never caught his name, and so I never really paid much attention.
Yeah, he ends up saving Carrie and Sid by grabbing the Shadow King right before David wakes up. David turns around, catches all the bullets that were like frozen and but still on their way to him, and they head back to
Summerland.
Summerland, that's what it's called, Summerland. How do they afford all that, by the way?
Oliver had built that. Remember,
okay,
that's right. Sanctuary built. Dr. Bird had Melanie had talked about how he had built that for mutants and everything, and that was where they were supposed to go and relax and use their powers.
And good news, Oliver's alive. Got out of the suit, unfrozen, which is good news for us because we will get more of him on the show. And he was making scrambled eggs for everybody. It was really nice. It was a nice little moment for Dr. Bird. Yeah, I loved it. But we find out Carrie is upset with Carrie for bailing on her. She's really pissed.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to deal with that. And they decide that maybe we should get the Shadow King out at some point. And just when you think everything is over, Division 3 shows up, what's left of them. And it ends with, we want him, but kill the rest of them. And this is where you might have to do some explaining. So we dive into David's head, and it looks like we're going down in the ground through the rabbit hole again, and we're seeing all these evil faces, and it ends up in the box where the Shadow King is trapped, and the box cracks, and we see David's head with yellow eyes, and that's how it ends.
No, that was actually Lenny's face with the yellow eyes. That wasn't David's.
It wasn't David's. So cracked on the outside.
It was kind of a little bit of both. It was David and Lenny. It was a weird scene the way it looked.
So they merged right there and then. And it's probably to take out Division 3.
Yes.
And do you think it's David using Shadow King or Shadow King breaking out?
It is David, because you see him, he closes his eyes for a second, and that's him delving all the way down to use the Shadow. Remember how the Shadow King used his powers?
Yep.
He's now reversing it and taking the Shadow King's powers.
Yep. And David's taking charge. That's kind of how I saw it too.
Yeah.
I think that'll be dealt with rather quick. And I think next episode, we're going to, I don't know. Do you think we'll see Professor X?
No, next episode is the last episode of the season.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know the guy with the burned face. He was the guy who abducted David.
Yep.
In the beginning.
From Division 3.
Division 3, who survived. I was actually kind of surprised he survived.
Yep. He doesn't look good.
He does not look like he wants to have survived all of that. So,
yep.
Yeah, he's gonna. I saw the trailer for the next episode, and let's just say Division 3 does not fare well.
I didn't think it would. Yeah, I just on some chat show, Dave Stevens was talking to Patrick Stewart, and he said, you know, would you come on my show and would you play Professor X? And he said, yes, 100,000 times yes. So
nice.
I mean, so obviously Patrick Stewart's not entirely done.
Yeah, he already said that when he had first said that he's retired from Professor X, he kind of rescinded that later on.
Oh yeah, did you see that Deadpool thing where he goes to the grave?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh my God, there's a video where Deadpool. I think this was supposed to be the real post credits behind Logan, which would have been brilliant. So it shows Deadpool going up to the grave, and there's a kind of a nice moment where he sits down and he's quiet, and then he gets up, knocks over the X, pulls out a cartoon that says Deadpool has Deadpool plus Wolverine. It says Deadpool with bags of money, and then on the bottom of it was a shot of the serum. He's all right, buddy. We're getting back together. Then it goes to black, and he's all, but it really shouldn't be like this. We really shouldn't, I just don't think it would be right. And he walks away, but go look for it. It's really funny. It's really good. It's really, really good. Somebody showed it to me today at work. I'm like, that would have been a great post-credit scene. So wow, Fox, bravo. Yes. After Age of Apocalypse, you really turn the ship. And I actually just after Deadpool, and after we saw Deadpool, we knew like maybe they figured it out. I mean, honestly, it never crossed my mind that Fox would figure it out. So
yeah, no, it didn't for me either. I thought they were just gonna keep muddling around with the franchise until it finally died and
went back to Marvel.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Color me surprised. Fox has righted the ship. I cannot wait for Gifted. Now I am like,
yeah, I want to see what Matt Nix does with Gifted. I think that's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I went from like that show's going to be crap and a complete failure to they're actually using X-Men.
Yeah, we got Thunderbird, we got Blink, Polaris. So yes, it's going to be fairly interesting, I think.
Oh well, okay. So we got one show we have Magneto's daughter. And one show we have Professor X's son. So my curiosity with Legion, we'll wrap up with this, is how they tone his power down to make him, because he is so powerful. It would be really easy just to make him his own bad guy every season, which and we do have to remember that Legion is technically a villain.
True.
So that's what they say this is. This is the villain origin story. So we'll see if they stick with that. That'll be most interesting.
That would be very interesting if they stick with it as a villain. They spin it off into a movie, maybe.
Oh, yep. Or they just make the X-Men universe on television, and X-Men would take over TV. Just when you think superheroes are dead. Just when you think they're dead, if they do one right,
they come back from the fucking.
They do, but I mean, like, hey, Warner Brothers, take a note. If you do a good job with one of your effing movies and go, okay, that was a success, let's copy this, which could be Man of Steel 2 with Matthew Vaughn. That could save as a matter of fact, they should stop production on Justice League and let Matthew Vaughn finish the movie.
Justice League's already done. Trailer comes out on Saturday.
I know. I'm hoping. Actually, just scrap it and redo it because it looks terrible.
Yeah.
The reverse gray black Batman costume looks Looks like one of his bad, like it's like after they've run out of ideas for action figures, and it's like the 99th repaint of
You
a
mean the Go-Go
Batman.
Power Rangers?
Yeah, it looks stupid, and the Flash costume is hideous. It's just hideous. When your TV show costume on the CW is better, it's time to go. It's time to go. You know what? Wonder Woman can win Best Picture. I don't think it's going to save it. That's just me. So well done. Unfortunately, I will not be here for the season finale of Legion because John Reed will be back. John Reed. I know you're going to miss me. I'm actually going away for a weekend. A week, and a whole week in a row with my family. Go figure. The Nerdrotics are going on the road. But burglars, there's going to be house sitters and shit. So don't even think about it.
Oh, crap. Doesn't give me any reason to come up there then.
Well, you should. You know what? You're welcome to come up. You want to hang out in San Francisco?
Oh, no, I was just going to go and raid stuff out of the basement and stuff. Like
okay, that's cool. Go for it. All my porn. my extensive VHS porn collection. 72 to 74, man. Oh shit.
Your guitar just kind of did a little flip there.
You know what? It was that's my guitar and the Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon sword did not like each other very much. So on that note, we're going to end this one and we'll be right back in about 5-10 minutes for a quick Expanse review. So you can find all of our videos and podcasts at nerdrotic.com. Our Facebook page is the Nerdrotic Podcast. Go to iTunes and search Nerdrotic and subscribe to us. And on YouTube, we are the Nerdrotic channel. Dennis, take us out.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
And may the small folk sing songs of your greatness.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.